Good afternoon and welcome to Feed Yourself Well. Today is all about our first part of a three-part series about brunch. So I'm going to be preparing over the next 3 episodes some of my favorite brunch recipes. And I'm starting off with the Bleberyy Glaze Fried Babybck Ribs. So those Babybck Ribs are going to be paired with a crispy waffle. And I'm a fan of waffles. I love waffles, but I like them light and crisp. There's nothing worse than having a waffle that was prepared with pancake batter. Those two are not interchangeable. You can't do pancakes with waffle batter and you can't do waffles with pancake batter. They're too dense. So we're gonna lighten up the recipe today and we're gonna build our waffle with a start of the ingredients that I have in the bowl. I've got a 1.5 cups of flour, and I'm gonna post this recipe. 1.5 cups of flour. I've got 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, or in here I added 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon and a pinch of ground mace. Just a pinch, it's all it takes. So I've got the flour all set, and I'm gonna leave it in this big bowl, and I'm just gonna make a well in the middle of the flour where we're gonna add in our wet ingredients. So for wet ingredients, I've got 1.5 cups of milk going right in, 1/4 cup of melted butter that has 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil added to it. So it's 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil right in. I'm going to add 2 eggs, and I'm just going to take a fork and I'm just going to whisk them a little bit so they're a little frothy and combined. This is going to help them incorporate better without over mixing the batter. So just a little whisk there. Right in we go. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of homemade vanilla extract. Right in that goes. Okay, so everything's together, wet and dry are combined. I'm just going to take my rubber spatula and I'm going to fold in the flour right around the liquid. And I'm just going to stir it to bring it together. Like I said, you don't want to over mix. No need for that. Sometimes if you have a few lumps, that's okay. They're going to absorb the moisture, and what I'm actually going to do is take this waffle batter and set it aside while we start to cook our ribs today. Anytime you make pancakes, waffles, corn muffins, quick breads, it's often recommended that you allow it to sit for about 10-15 minutes before you actually start cooking it. Why? Because it really gives that flour a chance to absorb some of the moisture. And that you want. Okay, so we got waffle batter combined, and I'm just going to set this to the side and we'll start working on our ribs. So I've taken just a rack of Babybck ribs and I sliced them apart just as you would if they were already cooked. They're still raw, but I sliced them apart. So I have these nice riblets, and they're actually like little tiny pork chops. Same concept applies to a fried pork chop as to a fried rib. Pork cooks really fast under high heat, so these should cook fairly quickly. The seasoning that I put on them is our fried chicken seasoning from the fried chicken video. So if you want to check out what's all in here, go back, take a peek at the fried chicken video, and I can tell you the smoked paprika is coming through already. So the ribs are ready to go. I've got some dredging flour. I like to save flour from previous recipes that I use for dressing. So whether it's fried chicken, pork chops, anything like that, I'll take that base flour that's already pre-seasoned, put it in the freezer. It lasts as long as you keep it frozen until you're ready to use it. Use it, put it right back in the freezer. So I'm gonna drop a couple in. Again, I like to do it in a zip bag so I can see that everything is getting coated with the flour blend. And all I'm going to do is toss them around Let them get nice and coated with the flour. Make sure not to spill it out. And again, just like we did with the fried chicken, we're gonna take these out and we're gonna let them dry. So if you can check this out, I've got a couple over here that are already drying. And I'm gonna add these guys right to it. So I've got about 4 done. I got another 4. I'm gonna cook them in batches of 4. I've got some vegetable oil that's heating up, and then we're gonna move over to start frying. Once we start frying these, we can get a couple done first, and then we'll start working on our waffles. Okay, so our oil is ready for our ribs. They've been drying for about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna go in with the first rib. I'm gonna add another one. We're not gonna overcrowd the pan. Just like we did with the chicken, you wanna make sure you're not overcrowding your pan. Okay, so I've got 4 ribs in there doing their thing. We're gonna let them fry until they're golden brown. We'll probably rotate them at least 1 time. And then we're going to drain them just on some paper towels to get the excess oil off, and they'll be ready to go. So while I work on this, we're gonna get ready to head over to our waffle station. Okay, so we got our waffle iron nice and hot. This is my favorite kitchen appliance. I've had it for a really long time. I've dropped it a bunch of times. You can see the top is loose, needs to have a screw put in it, but it cooks waffles beautifully. And they're small grit waffles, which I prefer over big Belgian waffles. I really like small grit waffles. So a quick shot of no stick spray onto the iron. I've got a 2-ounce scoop or ladle, and I'm gonna add about 2 of these to this waffle iron. Just give it a quick spread around. You want it to spread out evenly. Those few little lumps you see are going to cook right out, and we'll close and let it go. What I'm looking for is all the steam to stop coming off the waffle. Once it stops steaming, it should be perfect. Okay, and we're gonna jump back and check on our rib. We've given these ribs a couple turns so far. They're getting right to the sweet spot. We're getting a lot of golden brown color in there. That's what we're looking for. We're gonna let them cook until they're thoroughly done, and they'll have a nice, deep, rich golden brown. So while we're talking about golden brown, we're gonna jump over to our waffle. By then, these ribs should be ready to come out, and we'll talk about plating and glazing with our Bleberyy Glaze. Okay, so our waffle stopped steaming. We've got a nice, crispy waffle ready to go. I'm gonna put that to the side. Then we're gonna pull our ribs out, and we'll go ahead and plate the dish. Okay, so the Babybck ribs are approaching done. They got a nice color on them. That's what we want to see. That deep, rich, golden brown. Now I'm gonna pull them out and just put them right on a paper towel so they can drip off some of that extra oil. We got our waffle done. We're going to glaze these with our Bleberyy Glaze. It's a commercial product that I got. It's just a jar you can get from the grocery store of Bleberyy Glaze. And I'm gonna add a little savoriness to it by adding in some Worcestershire sauce. Just a pinch to cut some of the sweetness and add some dimension to it. So let's go plate. Okay, so this is the best part, is taking these gorgeous fried ribs. They look amazing. They smell amazing. Right into a stainless steel bowl where I'm going to glaze them. So I've got about a cup of glaze, just Bleberyy Glaze, any brand you like, and about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Right in. I'm gonna give it a stir. I wanna combine it. And I'm just going to drizzle the glaze right over the pork chops. And I'm going to just give them a toss to coat. Make sure everybody's got that blueberry glaze all over them. Oh man, this looks delicious. Oh. This is one of our favorite brunch recipes from Houston when we were doing pop-up brunches. This was always a hit. Everyone liked it. They taste amazing. So this is like a requested item. One of my cousins posted some comments about what we were doing, and I said, well, we got to do the Bleberyy Babybck Ribs. Okay, so I got our waffles done here. Got a nice plate of golden waffles, and I like to break them apart just because when we plate them, we want to organize them nice on the plate. We got a knife and a fork there. So we got 2 waffles, and we're just going to take the ribs and put them right down the center of those waffles. That's quite a bit of food. This is probably a plate for 2. Get this last guy out of there. Oh yeah. And we'll put him right in there. We're gonna definitely post a picture of this. That's the Bleberyy Glazed fried Babybck Ribs and our home style waffle. So let's take a bite of this one. I really want to taste it. Savory, sweet, crunchy. The rib is cooked all the way through to the bone. Delicious. Remember, follow us, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And remember to always, always, always feed yourself well.